Alright, Shalom to the elect of Israel. I want to start by giving all the praises, honor, and glory to whom it rightfully belongs, which is Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rachak. And what I said was all the praises, honor, and glory belongs to Yahweh, who is the Heavenly Father, whom the world ignorantly calls God, in the name of His only begotten Son, Yahweh Shai, who is the one the world ignorantly calls Jesus, in the name of the Holy Spirit, which in Hebrew is Rachak. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone that rule well. Peace, blessings, and salutations to the elect. In this lesson, wanted to go into, the fact that we're going to have new bodies, man, and type of bodies that we're going to have, is going to be a combination of basically, the terrestrial and the celestial, okay? So let me go ahead and this is the book of 1 Corinthians, chapter 15, verse 40. There are also celestial bodies, right? And this word celestial.
Strong's G 2032.
Strong's G
Epuranias.
2032.
Epuranias.
Epuranias.
Right? It says, existing in heaven, things that take place in heaven, the heavenly regions, heaven itself, the abode of the Most High and angels, the lower heavens of the stars, the heavens of the clouds, the heavenly temple or sanctuary of heavenly origin or nature. Okay? So celestial has to do with, the word celestial has to do with, the heavens. Okay? Here it says, look, on the Thayer's Greek lexicon, it says, existing in heaven. All right? It says here, properly or existing in or above heaven, heavenly. All right, here it says the heavenly beings, the inhabitants of heaven, of angels, okay? So, the celestial bodies, okay, are what the angels have, all right? That's what the angels have, okay? The type of bodies they have, all right? And as it says, well, I'll get to that. And it says in bodies terrestrial, right?
Strong's G 1919.
Strong's G
Epigaios.
1919.
Epigaios.
Epigaios, right? And it says existing upon the earth, earthly, terrestrial, right? So terrestrial is talking about the bodies that people have. Okay, this current flesh that we have now. All right, these type of bodies. Okay, those are terrestrial bodies. And it says, but the glory of the celestial is one, and the glory of the terrestrial is another. I'm read that in the NLT. There are also bodies in the heavens and bodies on the earth. The glory of the heavenly bodies is different from the glory of the earthly bodies, okay? Salakia, I was looking at above me, helicopters. But, basically, all right, for example, right, so another easier way to think about this is another way to think about this is about celestial and terrestrial. You could think of celestial as the ceiling, okay, referring to, the heavens, the heavenly bodies, and terrestrial, the terrain, down here on the earth, earthly bodies, okay? And when you look at some of the things that, the angels did, okay, for example, this is one I like to bring out a lot, Oh, Slack, before I get that, because it said the celestial bodies it's a glory of the celestial bodies and a glory of the terrestrial bodies, right? And Basically what that means is there's certain things that angels with the bodies they have can do that we as humans and this bodies can't do. For example, angels. Well, I'm gonna get an example. All right, this is the book of 2 Kings 19 and 35. And it came to pass that night that the angel of Yahweh went out and smote in the camp of the Assyrians 185,000, which is 185,000 soldiers. And when they arose early in the morning, behold, they were all dead corpses. Right? So this is an example of what they do. They don't get tired. This angel he smote 185,000 Assyrian soldiers in one night, and in the morning it was nothing but dead corpses. So you picture that. It's very like wow. Okay. Another thing, Ezekiel chapter 1. These are angels here being described. Ezekiel 1 and 14, and the living creatures, talking about these angels Ezekiel saw, ran and returned as the appearance of a flash of lightning in the NLT. And the living beings darted to and fro like flashes of lightning. Right? The angels, they were running like at the speed of light. Okay? They were running at the speed of light, man. Okay, but it's just an example of the glory of the celestial bodies. They don't get tired, none of that, and they also don't need to eat. They don't need to sleep. All right, they don't need to do any of those things. Whereas the glory of the terrestrial body, we do those things. We eat, go to the bathroom, sleep, have sex, these different types of things, right? So let's go back to 1 Corinthians 15. 1 Corinthians chapter 15. Right, and a lot of these Christians, they think that they think when in this chapter is going into being in when the elect get changed, they're going to be up in the sky somewhere, somewhere up in the sky just partying or whatever. All right, but that's not true. This is 1 Corinthians 15 now, jumping down to verse 51. Behold, I show you a mystery. We shall not all sleep. We're not all going to die, but we shall all be changed. All right, so the elect is going to be changed in a moment, meaning their bodies are going to be changed from the bodies they have now. In a moment, in the twinkling of an eye, at the last trump. Right, and what is the last trump? That seventh trumpet. And that Yahweh Shah is going to be back in that seventh trumpet. So that's when he comes back. For the trumpet shall sound, and the dead shall be raised incorruptible, and we shall be changed. Okay? Those that died in Yahweh Shai, they're going to be on a chariot, and they're going to have new bodies as well. It's going to be incorruptible. All right, so for this corruptible must put on incorruption, and this mortal must put on immortality. All right? So we're going to have new bodies, okay, that can't decay, can't die. All right, don't grow old, don't bleed, none of that. All right, don't perish. Ultimately, all Israel is going to have that. All right, but the thing is, you got to understand, this is as it says, at the last trump. This is when Yahweh Shai returns. Okay? He's going to beam up the elect into the chariot. Now, the thing is, right, prophecy doesn't stop there. Okay? The elect are also going to come back out of the chariot. All right? Yahweh Shai is coming to bring the kingdom on earth. Let me get that. As it says in Matthew, the 6th chapter, starting from verse 9 to verse 10. After this manner, therefore, pray ye, Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Read that in the NLT. May your kingdom come soon. May your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Right. So when you say this in the Lord's Prayer, right, basically you want the kingdom of heaven to come. All right, and it's going to be on earth. All right, because what it says on earth as it is in heaven. What's in heaven? Order. Okay, everything obeys the Lord. Everything is in order up there. All right, and you want praying for that same order to be on the earth. And right now the earth is out of order. This devil ruling it, right? So, being that this devil is ruling it and it's out of order, Yahweh Shai is going to come and bring order, which is what? The kingdom of heaven. It's going to be on the earth, okay? He's going to establish righteousness, all right? So the kingdom is going to be on earth, okay? And so then this is after that last trump, at 1 Corinthians 15. It's after Yahweh Shai comes back and beams up his elect, man. Okay, this is after that. Fuck, y'all, I gotta move, man. The sun is crucial, right? Jeez. Sitting in the sun, right? Fuck, I gotta. Jeez, man. Oof. Give me 1 second here. Oh man. Alright. So Yahweh Shai is coming to bring that order. Okay? And so point being that deliverance, when that takes that transformation of the bodies is going to take place when Yahweh Shai returns, okay? So keep that in mind, all right? But there's also prophecies that still have to be filled even after the nuclear destruction, you see? So let me get some. This is the book of Ezekiel. This is a major one that comes to mind. Oh boy. Anyways. This is Ezekiel 36, right? Get right to the point. Ezekiel the 36th chapter. Starting in verse 8. It says, "But ye, O mountains of Israel, ye shall shoot forth your branches and yield your fruit to my people of Israel, for they are at hand to come." Right? So, and the thing is, look, we're not going to get back to our homeland before Yahweh Shai returns, okay? We're not going to get back there before he comes back, all right? You understand, the Holy Land is inhabited by devils, okay? It's inhabited, by all, Amalek, okay, etc. I believe Ishmael was in there too. It's locked if I'm wrong. All right. So if we were to go back now and have the whole land back to ourselves, all 12 tribes, we would have to have some type of power, okay? Some type of power, man. All right, and prophecy would have to say it. But number one, we have no power, okay? This devil is in power currently. He has the power over, so we can't by ourselves take him out and remove him out of there. Even if we did gather up some type of arms, this devil has too much. All right. And when you take over a land, if you conquering, you got some type of power and strength with you. As a whole, we Israelites, what power do we have, man? We're conquered people right now. All right. So we can't go back over there right now. The one that's gonna put us back in that land is the Lord. And it's gonna start when Yahweh Shai returns. Isaiah. We'll come back to that in Ezekiel 36. It's Isaiah 14:1. "For the Lord will have mercy on Jacob, and will yet choose Israel, and set them in their own land. And the strangers shall be joined with them, and they shall cleave to the house of Jacob." All right, but it says the Lord is the one who's going to set us in our own land. Okay. It's also, shows that thing that the people over there in Demona, the Hebrew Israelites that went back to Israel, You know, I believe they got deported. You see, because it's not really. Some of them might still be down there, but you know, they got deported, man. It said in a news article, a lot of them. You see, and that's your homeland, but it's not. It's not time. You see, it's not time for us to go back over there right now. That land is going to get nuked. Okay. Talks about that. Ezekiel, the 38th chapter, is going to get nuked. All right, during World War III. So, that is going to happen. All right, but the point is, the Lord is the one that's going to put us back in our homeland. We can't do it without him. Okay, so in Ezekiel 36, all right, it says, read it again, Ezekiel 36:8. But ye, O mountains of Israel, ye shall shoot forth your branches and yield your fruit to my people of Israel, for they are at hand to come. Okay, they're at hand to come. So it's going to be. So this is after Yahushua returns. Okay, it's after he comes back and changes the elect. All right. See, now the land of Israel is not up in the sky somewhere. Okay, it's not in the third heaven. The land of Israel is on the earth. Okay. And being that this prophecy of the Israelites returning home is after Yahushua returns, okay? And beams up his elect and changes them. This tells you what? That we're going to come back down out of the chariot, all right? With new bodies, okay? And we are going to be walking on the earth in rulership. We're going to be on the earth, okay? It says, for behold, I am for you, and I will turn to you, and ye shall be tilled and sown. Verse 10, and I will multiply men upon you, all the house of Israel, even all of it, and the cities shall be inhabited, and the waste shall be builded. Okay, it says one of the same things in Isaiah the 60th chapter. It says, because the Lord just said through the prophet Ezekiel that there's going to be men multiplied upon the land of Israel. What does that mean? The precept, Isaiah chapter 60, verse 22. A little one shall become 1,000, and a small one a strong nation. Yahweh will hasten to end his time. Meaning what? We're going to have many, many, many children. We're going to have a lot of children, man, in the kingdom of heaven. We Israelites, we Hebrew Israelites, all right, we're going to have a lot of children, okay? And as we read before in 1 Corinthians 15, it said what? The glory of the celestial is one, and the glory of the terrestrial is another. This is all right. So once again, the type of bodies angels can't have sex, but the terrestrial bodies can. It's the book of Matthew 22, starting in verse 29. Yahushua answered and said unto them, ye do err, not knowing the scriptures, nor the power of the Most High. For in the resurrection, meaning in this resurrection, okay, let's get it.
Strong's G 386.
Strong's G
Anastasis.
386.
Anastasis.
Anastasis.
Anastasis is a rising from the dead, right? So, because what? When you die, all right, Ecclesiastes 12:7, you go back to the Lord. Then shall the dust return to the earth as it was, and the spirit shall return to the Most High who gave it. Precept. Ecclesiastes, stay with me though. Ecclesiastes chapter 3, verse 21. Who know what the spirit of man is talking about after you die? Who know what the spirit of man that goeth upward, and the spirit of the beast that goeth downward to the earth? So when after a person dies, all right, they go up to the spirit world. All right, they go back up to the spirit world. Okay. So when we read here in Matthew 22, and Yahushua said in verse 34, in the resurrection, meaning what? After you die, your spirit rises back up to the heavens. It goes back to the spirit world. As we just read, the spirit shall return unto the Most High who gave it. Who know what the spirit of man that goeth upward, right? When you do that, you have a different type of body. It says, for in the resurrection, they neither marry nor are given in marriage, but are as the angels of the Most High in heaven. See? And marriage is what? Genesis 24, 67. It says, and Isaac brought her into his mother Sarah's tent, talking about Rebekah, and took Rebekah, and she became his wife. And he loved her, and Isaac was comforted after his mother Sarah's death. All right. So marriage is sex according to the Bible. All right, but Yahweh Shai is saying here in Matthew, once again, Matthew 22, 20 and 30. For in the resurrection they neither marry. So when you go to the spirit world, you're in the spirit world, you have that spiritual body, because that 2 Corinthians says, I know it's a lot of precepts, just stay with me. 2 Corinthians 5:1, for we know that if our earthly house, this tabernacle, were dissolved, this body, we die, it says, we have a building of the Most High, and a house not made with hands, eternal in the heavens. So, we have you have a spiritual body, when you go up there. Okay? Matthew 22. So you have, if you said this body and go back to the spirit world, you have another body that you're in. Okay? You have a different type of body, that celestial body. Matthew 22 and 30 again. For in the resurrection, when you go back to the spirit world, they neither marry nor are given in marriage. They don't have sex, but are as the angels of the Most High in heaven. See, so in the spirit, so the angels, they don't have sex. Okay, and angels have what? Those celestial bodies. They don't have sex. They can do other things, They don't have sex. That is a glory of the terrestrial body, the bodies we have. Okay, but in prophecy, right? It says, what again? Ezekiel 36. Ezekiel 36 and 8. No, and 10. Lock it. And I will multiply men upon you, all the house of Israel, even all of it. And the cities shall be inhabited, and the wastes shall be builded. All right. So there's going to be. So we're going to have lots of sex in the kingdom of heaven, with our women, our wives and stuff. We're going to have many wives. All right. So this shows you what, and being that this is after the destruction, after the nuclear destruction. All right. And the elect were beamed up and changed into those new bodies. Okay. They're going to come back down. All right. And they're going to be in those new bodies on earth, walking around, moving on earth with those new incorruptible and immortal bodies. Okay. Scriptures also say this. This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 60, verse 21. Thy people, the Israelites, also shall be all righteous. Why? Because of the new covenant is going to be in our inward parts in that time. So we're never going to sin again. And in this flesh is subject to sin. It's programmed to sin. Okay, this current flesh we have. This is another reason why we have to be changed. All right. It says, thy people also shall be all righteous. So in the kingdom of heaven, right, we're going to be all righteous. Now, if we were to have these same bodies, okay, in the kingdom of heaven, all right, if we were to have these same bodies in the kingdom of heaven, this scripture wouldn't take place. Okay, if we were, and when I say kingdom of heaven, don't think, once again, it's not somewhere up in the sky. The kingdom of heaven is going to be on earth. Okay, the kingdom is going to be here on earth, man. All right. But if we were to have these same bodies in the kingdom, this scripture couldn't be fulfilled. All right. And that's a hawk flying around here. That's something. But another one. All right. But Slakia. This body is subject to sin. It's subject to, go off. All right. So in the kingdom of heaven, we're not going to have the same flesh we have now. All right. Basically, we're going to have new bodies. All right. We still it's going to be like, the one we had. Now we're going to have hands, feet, hair, arms, teeth, eyes, But the thing is, it's going to be like basically like that's what I could tell to you, like a cross between like a combination of the celestial, basically like angels in earthly bodies. Okay, you know, because how else would all this get fulfilled? You see, we're going to be in those new bodies. You know what I'm saying? On we're gonna be in those new bodies on the earth, man. Okay? On the earth. Alright? You know, just wanted to show you how, you know, the celestial bodies, they don't have sex. You see? And in the kingdom, it says we are. Okay? We're gonna have that. Alright? Early in this chapter, Isaiah 60:10, it says, "And the sons of strangers shall build up thy walls, and their kings shall minister unto thee. For in my wrath I smote thee, but in my favor have I had mercy on thee." So in the kingdom, you know, this goes to show, because how are the nations going to build a kingdom in the sky? How does that work? So our kingdom is going to be on the earth. Okay? It's going to be on the earth, man. All right? You know, imagine a bunch of Supermans walking around on the earth. Okay? And the thing is, with these new bodies also, we're going to be able to do different things. Like, for example, it's Isaiah 40 and 30. Let me start at verse 20. I'm going to jump down. "Hast thou not known, hast thou not heard, that the everlasting power, Yahweh, the creator of the ends of the earth, fainteth not, neither is weary. There is no searching of his understanding." Right? The Lord, there's no telling. Look, there's no limit on what the Lord knows what to do. Okay? There's no limit. Let me jump down, verse 31. "But they that wait upon Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings as eagles." This is talking about flying. With those new bodies, well, look, this is the prophecy. With those new bodies, we're going to be able to fly. Okay? We're going to be able to do these type of things. It says, "They shall run and not be weary. And they shall walk and not faint." You know, in these new bodies, you know, we're going to be able to do all that. We're going to be able to fly. You know, not going to get tired in the kingdom. You see? None of that. You see? This is, you know, so you see how we're going to have basically the celestial body and the terrestrial, like a combination of it. Okay? You know, a combination of the celestial and terrestrial, man. All right, we're going to be on the earth. You know, how else we're going to have slaves? It talks about we're going to have slaves, man. This is the book of Psalms 149. Actually, let me get this. Ezekiel, the 39th chapter, because this one goes into after, you know, World War III. You know, Ezekiel 39. And 9. "And they that dwell in the cities of Israel shall go forth," right? And once again, the land of Israel is going to be nuked. All right, so really, you know, it's talking about the elect coming out of the chariots. All right, it says, so they're going to come out of the chariots with those new bodies and shall set. This is future prophecy. This is after World War III, because this chapter goes into, you know, Gog, you know, being dead out there, you know, in the valley of Hamagog, and you know. And that's going to be after World War III. You could read this chapter, but it says, and they that dwell in the cities of Israel shall go forth and shall set on fire and burn the weapons, both the shields and the bucklers, the bows, the arrows, and the handstaves and the spears. They shall burn them with fire 7 years. Right? You know? So, oh boy, Salaki, bear with me 1 second. You know, Salaki. That's what they are gonna do. Oh, man, it's lucky. Alright. Bear with me 1 second. You know, there's a lot of people around. Okay, so once again, Salaki, I know I keep pausing this or whatnot. It's just surroundings changing and all that. But anyways, so what this is saying is that after the elect come out of the chariot, one thing they're going to do is go around the world burning up all the the military equipment. The nukes, the guns, tanks, fighter jets, all of that stuff is going to be burnt up. You see, with those new bodies. Verse 10. So that they shall take no wood, and it says 7 years, just meaning a complete amount of time it's going to take to burn it up. It says, so that they shall take no wood out of the field, neither cut down any out of the forest, for they shall burn the weapons with fire. So they're not going to need to chop any trees down to do that. All right, we're going to use spiritual power. You see, so we're going to have spiritual power, man, be able to do these things. All right, with those new bodies. You see, and this is talking about a prophecy that's going to take place where? On the earth. All right, and look, it says, and they shall spoil those that spoiled them, and rob those that robbed them. So we're going to take that thing too. We're going to take these nations in slavery. Okay, and this is all after Yahweh Shai comes back. Okay, this kingdom that's coming, we will have new bodies. All right, on the planet Earth, we'll be able to fly. We'll be able to do all that superhero stuff. All right, that you see in the comics, because they really get it from the scriptures. All right, you want to talk about laser vision? That's in the Bible. You want to talk about flight? That's in the Bible. You want to talk about super strength? That's in the Bible. All right, and it's not far-fetched, because what? The Lord gave his men spiritual powers like Samson. Okay, Samson has super strength, man. Okay, Elijah, you want to talk about the Flash? Elijah ran faster than a horse-pulled chariot. Okay. So laser vision, what? It talks about it mentions the scripture about us having laser vision, but also Leviathan. Okay. So hey, the Lord Yahweh Shai, he had spiritual powers. He walked on water. All right, so it's not far-fetched. So look, in the kingdom, we're gonna have those new bodies, and that can't die. So this is why we're never gonna go out of power. All right, we're never gonna sin. Therefore, we're always gonna live. All right, because the wages of sin is death, and if you don't sin, you don't die. Okay, so we're gonna have that. All right, so we're gonna be able to do all these things, have those new bodies, and this kingdom is gonna be on the earth. We're gonna be walking with those new bodies on the earth, not somewhere up in the sky, not somewhere up in the heavens. All right, which the thing is, we'll be able to go outer space, because Yahweh Shai said in John 14:2, in his Father's house are many mansions. All right, so we'll be able to do those things. Okay, but basically, but the point being that we're going to have a kingdom here on the earth. It's going to be on the earth, man. Okay. This is the book of Isaiah 61 and verse 5. And strangers shall stand and feed your flocks, the heathens, and the sons of the aliens shall be your plowmen and your vine dressers. Look, it's talking about in the kingdom, the heathens, they're going to be the ones tending to our fields in the kingdom, and vineyards and all of that. You see? So this shows you that it's going to, in the kingdom is after Yahweh Shai comes and changes his elect and beams them up. All right, the kingdom is going to be built up like that, and we're going to have slaves. So that's going to be on the earth. Okay? As we just showed you that on the earth, we're going to have those new bodies, because we're going to be able to do all these other different things, fly, not get tired, things like that. Okay? And we're going to be able to, have sex and all of that. All right? On the earth. Okay? So this goes to show you that the kingdom of heaven is going to be on the earth. And we're going to have those new bodies. All right? Where we can do all these different type of things on the earth. Let me get another one. It's the book of Amos, chapter 9. This is the beautiful thing about prophecy. Okay? Now check this out. Remember, celestial bodies, they don't eat and drink. Only terrestrial bodies do. Okay? The bodies angels have, they don't eat or drink. These human bodies do. Okay? It says, Amos 9:14, and I will bring again the captivity of my people Israel, talking about the Lord is going to deliver us out of captivity. And they shall build the waste cities and inhabit them. And they shall plant vineyards and drink the wine thereof. They shall also make gardens and eat the fruit of them. You see? And our slaves is the ones, as we just read, that's going to be doing all of that. Okay? But it says in the kingdom how we're going to be drinking wine and eating the fruit of our gardens and stuff. That's something these bodies do. You know? Verse 15, and I will plant them upon their land. Ooh. Oh, man. You see? And what is the land of the Israelites? The land of Israel, man. Okay? That's our land that was given to us. All right? It says, and I will plant them upon their land. See? And they shall no more be pulled up out of their land, which I have given them, saith Yahweh, thy power. You see? So we're going to be the kingdom is going to be on the earth. Okay? So I should keep looking back here. You know? It's going to be on the earth, man. All right? But, you know, so let me just see. I'm trying to think of anything else. Because, I mean, it's really, you know, once you have the correct understanding, all right? So I'll just review it. All right, so one, we know that, cause what? Isn't Yahushua going to rule? Okay, look, let me get this. It's the book of Daniel, the 7th chapter. And verse 27, and the kingdom and dominion and the greatness of the kingdom under the whole heaven shall be given to the people of the saints of the Most High, whose kingdom is an everlasting kingdom, and all dominion shall serve and obey him. All right? So, you know, all the nations are going to serve Yahweh Shai and his elect. Okay? You know? That's just what it's going to be. Okay? And guess what? And that's got to be on the earth for them to do that, right? Well, guess what this says? Philippians chapter 3, starting in verse 20. For our conversation is in heaven, from whence also we look for the Savior, the Lord, Yahweh Shai HaMashiach, who shall change our vile body, that it may be fashioned like unto his glorious body, according to the working whereby he is able even to subdue all things unto himself. You see? So the type of body he has, all right, you know, is like that's the type of body we're going to have. Okay? He can't die and all of that. He's immortal. Okay? He can do all of that stuff. Okay? But he's still, you know, he's going to rule on the earth. He's going to be able to do things of the earth. You see? So he has those new type of bodies, and that's the new type of bodies that we're going to get. Okay? And we're going to be ruling alongside, the elect is going to be ruling alongside him in the kingdom of heaven, which is going to be on the earth. Okay? 1 John 3:2. Beloved, now are we the sons of the Most High. It does not yet appear what we shall be, but we know that when he Yahweh shall appear, we shall be like him, for we shall see him as he is, that new body. And one of the other things that Yahweh is able to do with those new bodies, let me get this. Isaiah 47:3. Thy nakedness shall be uncovered, yea, thy shame shall be seen. I will take vengeance, I will not meet thee as a man. Right. When Yahweh comes back, he's not coming back as a man you could just kill like a regular man. Okay? He's coming back as that new incorruptible body, that immortal body, which is invincible. Those bodies you can't put to death. You can't kill it. You can't make it bleed. You can't hurt it. You know? And that trumps Esau's blessing, which is the sword. Okay? Because the sword, that's what it's designed to do. To kill and hurt. You see? So you coming with something greater than the sword. You able to take him over. That's another lesson in itself. You know, if you come in with the sword, if your blessing is a sword, and that's how you get what you have. If somebody has something greater to where, they themselves are invincible, you can't hurt them, you can't kill them, you can't stop them, then obviously you're about to be conquered. You see? And with those new bodies, that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to conquer all these nations. Daniel 7. So you see, we're going to have this kingdom on earth, and we're going to have in these new bodies, we wouldn't be able to do that. If you could just get shot up and killed in these new bodies, how the hell are we going to take over? See? So this is talking about something. This is talking about we're going to have new bodies to have the kingdom. Because what? We're going to take the kingdom. Daniel 7 and verse 18. But the saints of the Most High shall. And the saints are who? The Israelites. Let me prove that real quick. This is Psalms chapter 148 and verse 14. It says, He also exalted the horn of his people, the praise of all his saints, even of the children of Israel, a people near unto him. Praise ye Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai. Okay? And you have it. So the saints of the Israelites. Back in Daniel 7 and verse 18. But the saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom. We're going to take the rulership, the control, the dominion. We're going to take it. Okay? We're going to take it. That means what? We're going to have these new bodies to take down Esau. When he's conquered, all right, then when we have those new bodies, we're going to be able to conquer this devil. And if he's conquered, all right, we're going to be able to take the full control, the full rulership. You see? And guess what? It says what? And possess the kingdom forever, even forever and ever. We're going to have it forever. See? You can't do that with these new bodies. Slocky, we can't do that. You can't do it with these bodies we have now. You can only do it with those new bodies. And that when Yahweh Shai returns. See, so there's an order to things. All right, this is the book of Revelation 19. You get this too. Because what? Yahweh Shai coming to take over, man. Revelation 19 and 12, his eyes were as a flame of fire, and on his head were many crowns. And it's not going to be that literally like he's walking around with a whole bunch of crowns on his head, but this is symbolic because when he comes back, he's going to take down, the rulerships of these heathens. He's going to take down their rulership. See? So, and how is he going to do that? Well, when he comes back, he's not going to do it alone. He's going to do it with the elect. So you see, it's a bunch of prophecies that have to take place after the nuclear destruction. All right? In regards to the kingdom, we're going to have to be changed. Okay? We're going to have those new bodies, within this kingdom. You see? Within the kingdom, rather. Let me get this too. All right? Revelation 21 and 4. It says, And the Most High shall wipe away all tears from their eyes, and there shall be no more death. You see? Here's the thing, and this is for the Israelites. Okay? This is regarding the Israelites, man. All right? There's not going to be any more death. And these bodies are subject to death. And this is because look, this is in the kingdom, okay? This is in the kingdom of heaven, right? This shows you that in the kingdom, we're gonna have these new bodies, and it's gonna be on the earth, all right? Because the kingdom is on the earth. This verse is talking about within the kingdom. It's regarding the Israelites, right? And in these bodies, we die, all right? But as it read in 1 Corinthians 15, the new bodies that we're gonna get don't die. Okay, and in 1 Corinthians 15 it says this mortal, meaning this mortal body that does die, is going to put on the immortal. You see? So in the kingdom, which is going to be on earth, it says this, And the Most High shall wipe away all tears from their eyes, and there shall be no more death. See that? So we're going to have to be changed. Neither sorrow nor crying, neither shall there be any more pain, for the former things are passed away. Okay? So, in the kingdom of heaven, we're going to have new bodies. You're not going to feel any more pain. No joints, aches, and pains. That's what you get in this body. But even on any level, even on an emotional level, you're not going to feel that. You're not going to have any problems. Like the elder Kazak said, everything's going to be taken care of. You see? We're gonna have those new bodies. These new bodies, you get back aches, pain, sprains, you be able to break bones, you know, get sick, catch stuff, you know, bleed, all of that. But in the kingdom, you won't be able to, you see? So these new bodies are gonna, and you're gonna feel good in these new bodies, man. You know, as you get in this body, your spirit is put in these bodies, this mortal flesh. All right, this flesh is really weak, okay? You can't even jump off a height from a certain amount without, you know, breaking something or killing yourself. See? You walk the wrong way, your ankle could mess up. You know, you could slip, bust your head open. You know, people could just come. The Lord wants people could come up and just off you. Sleeping with those new bodies, you ain't gonna be able for none of that, man. And guess what? We're going to have, when we get this kingdom, it's going to be a rulership, in righteous rulership, rather. Let me say that. That's what I meant to say. We're going to have it in righteousness. Okay? So, you know, I know there was a lot of talking in this lesson, all right? But hopefully you understand, you know, just a couple precepts going in the show. And in the kingdom of heaven, you know, we're going to have, it's going to be a kingdom on earth. And we're going to have those new bodies in this kingdom that's going to be on earth. So we're going to be walking around like Superman, you know? We're going to be able to fly, do all these mighty things, run at high speeds, flashes of lightning, you know? Different, you know, powers and things like that. All right? We'll be able to do the things angels would do. All right, and yet, still at the same time, you know, in those new bodies, we're going to be able to do things of the flesh, like eat, drink, have sex, you know, these different things. Okay? So, that's basically it, man. All right? Lord willing, this lesson was edifying, giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Hashem Yahweh Shai, Hashem Chakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone that rule well. Peace, blessings, and salutations to the elect. Shalom to the elect.